Hello and welcome back to Bookish and welcome back to Tag Tuesday. Today I decided to do the My Favorite Penguin tag. This tag was originated by Steve Donoghue, surprise, surprise, and he got the idea from watching a video by Lukas in which he discussed a book by Livy, the Roman historian Livy, which he read and really liked and was enthusiastic about. I'll leave links to Lukas's video down below as well as Steve's, but essentially the tag is simple. You're just supposed to pick and talk about your favorite Penguin classic. And so that's what I wanted to do. And the book I'm going to show you is a book that I've featured on my channel before, and that is this Penguin classic copy of the Upanishads. And I don't know what the lighting's like in here. I thought I'd shoot in someplace different for a change, just change things up. So I'm not exactly sure how much you can see, but my copy is really weathered and beat up. I watched Jason over at Byways and Bookland's video on this tag this morning, and he showed a copy of The Fall of the House of Usher and Other Writings by Edgar Allan Poe, which he had acquired in 1986 and had had all this time. And he talked about how beat up it was and how, dropped it, and how yellow the pages were. And my book is in similar shape. It's not quite that old. I got this copy of the Upanishads around 1991, 1992, when I was visiting a friend of mine in Dallas, a college friend of mine, as a matter of fact, the friend of mine who really inspired me to become, I guess, for lack of a better term, a much more serious reader. Anyway, as readers are wont to do when they visit one another or when you go on vacation, we went book shopping, and I found this copy of the Upanishads. Now, what inspired me to read the Upanishads is one of those things which I have to admit happens to me a lot and happened to me a lot in the past, and that is that I saw the book, or I saw the Upanishads mentioned in a movie, and that movie was The Razor's Edge. It was an adaptation of The Razor's Edge done in the 80s, and it starred the comedian Bill Murray, who at the time was trying to branch out and become a more serious actor so he could get different parts. And it's an adaptation of the W. Somerset Maugham novel by the same name. Zelda's choosing to get a drink of water right now. Anyway, and so I saw it in that movie. I don't remember why I watched the movie, except the movie seemed interesting to me. And as soon as I saw it, and one of the characters in the Bill Murray movie lends Murray's character, Larry, a copy of the Upanishads, and it kind of changed his life, and it sends him off on a quest to know more about Eastern religions and to travel the East, and it kind of changes his whole approach to life. And I wanted, from that point on, I wanted to read the Upanishads. So I found this copy at the bookstore we were at. It was probably, to be honest with you, Barnes & Noble or Walden Books. I found this copy of the Upanishads and I bought it. And that night, after everybody went to bed, when I couldn't read, which is pretty common for me when I'm not in my own bed, when I couldn't sleep, I'm sorry, which is pretty common for me when I'm in my own bed, I read the Upanishads. Now, it's a slim volume. It's only about 145 pages total. And most of that is introduction, which I chose not to read. Zelda's going to gnaw her bone now, which is going to make Ike cry. Anyway, so I read it all. I read all the Upanishads that night. I didn't read the introduction. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure I've ever made it all the way through the really long introduction. But if you don't know, the Upanishads are one of the kind of foundational works of Hinduism, and therefore they kind of led to Buddhism. I'm neither Hindu or a Buddhist, but this book, when I got it and read it, and one reason why I read it so quickly was that it really very quickly meant a lot to me, not necessarily as a religious text, but as a source of wisdom and peace. And for me, that's what the book has been all this time. I kept this copy of the Upanishads at work, at the school where I taught, and when I was having a particularly frustrating day, I could just open it up and read passages that would, bring me peace or help me refocus and help me to remember what was and wasn't important. And it served that purpose for me all this time. I'm not a religious person. I'm not really a person of religious faith, but the wisdom and the ideas in here are ideas that I like. So I thought I would share some of my favorite passages with you. So for me, a lot of the passages in the Upanishads I like the most serve one or two functions. There are admonishments to do better, or admonishments to do the right thing, and then there are just things that give me peace, things that help me, to use a New Age term, I guess, center myself and be more mindful and remember, what I'm supposed to do. So a lot of the things that I find most valuable are the admonishments. So the first admonishment is in the very first one of the Upanishads that's in the book. By the way, this is not a complete copy of the Upanishads. It's a selection. So this is from the Isa Upanishad. And this passage says, "Behold the universe in the glory of God, and all that lives and moves on earth. Leaving the transient, find joy in the eternal. Set not your heart on another's possessions." So again, the idea of looking beyond the earthly things and looking beyond possessions and material things is one of those things which I find to be an important thing in my life. It may not seem that way, but I do have issues with materialism. This helps me to kind of remember that, and that's what I mean by an admonishment. The second one is from the Kena Upanishad, and it says, "If you think I know well, little truth you know." That is probably one of the most important things that I try to remember on a daily basis, that every time I think I know something, no matter how sure I am, I need to be reminded that I may not know that as well as I think I do, and others may know more, and there's always more to learn, and that's how I take that. So if I come off as a know-it-all, a lot of times I try to stamp down my natural know-it-allness by reading that passage. From the Kata Upanishad, there's this passage. "There's the path of joy, and there's the path of pleasure. Both attract the soul. Who follows the first comes to good. Who follows pleasure reaches not the end." And again, I think this is just an admonishment to, focus on doing good, to focus on being the best person I can be, to focus on having a positive impact on the world around me, and not to focus just on the things that give me, temporary pleasure, to look beyond that for something higher, for a way to, enrich others' lives as well as my own by doing the things that I know that are right, by being responsible, by being kind, by being compassionate. I do struggle with all of those things, and so that is a good admonishment and a reminder. So the third admonishment, and this is the one that which oftentimes I go back to the most, and by the way, this is the one where Mom got, this is the passage where Mom got the idea for the title of his novel, The Razor's Edge. This is from the Kata Upanishad, and it says, "Strive for the highest and be in the light. Sages say the path is narrow and difficult to tread, narrow as the edge of a razor." So this again is an admonishment to do right, to, for lack of a better term and to simplify it, to be good and to try to lead a good life. But one of the things I find really reassuring about this is the idea that path to wisdom, to enlightenment, to goodness is difficult to walk, and we're all going to make mistakes. And just because we make mistakes doesn't mean we can't get back on the right path. And that's kind of one of those things which again admonishes me when I failed to do and live up to the person I want to be, to get back to it and to try again and to keep striving for that. And then there are just passages that give me peace that I just like the idea of. And this one is from the Mundaka Upanishad. And it says, "As rivers flowing into the ocean find their final peace and their name and form disappear, even so the wise become free from name and form and enter into the radiance of the Supreme Spirit, who is greater than all greatness." So, as a not particularly religious person, that idea of the Supreme Spirit, and here kind of joining with the Supreme Spirit and losing your individuality and losing your name and who you are and becoming a part of this greater spirit, for me that's something that's really more about contributing to making the world better in our own small ways, and striving to do that and to be less ego-driven, less worried about who I am and what I've done, and more about what I'm how I'm living my life and how my life is impacting the life of others. And then the last passage I want to read is from the Donoghue Upanishad, and it says, "There is a light that shines beyond all things on earth, beyond us all, beyond the heavens, beyond the highest, the very highest heavens. This is the light that shines in our heart." So I don't think that one needs any explanation. But I read from the Upanishads often, as I said again, to help remind me of what I should be doing, of the life that I believe I should be living, and then just to give me peace, to find joy in the expression of these ideas and comfort in thinking about the future. All those things to me come from the Upanishads, and that makes it my favorite penguin. I look forward to your comments in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching.